And the fifth thing to consider is that the person must also be able to bring some balance to the ticket. And here we are talking about the fact that the person should be able to have certain features and qualities that and competences and experiences that will make up for the shortfalls and weaknesses of the flag bearer. So you don't go and look for somebody who brings nothing to you. The person must be able to balance your ticket. So if there are areas that you lack, it is assumed that the person you are selecting must be able to fill those areas that you lack. But when you come to our part of the world, and I'm talking about Ghana, where our two main political parties have more or less equal support base, in my view, the politically wise and sensible thing to consider is not the person who will be able to match a running mate of another party. I am sure that you have heard in the lead up to this election process, people were saying that the person who may be selected should have the same qualifications or competences of the running mate of, let's say, the ruling MPP. In some time past, when some parties were deciding on who should be their general secretaries, particularly the MPP, for instance, people were saying we need somebody who can match Asi Dunketia, and so that's why I'm sure Sir John of blessed memory was voted for. But you see, that is an irrational variable that must be considered. If you are choosing somebody to repose position of trust, you must look for who has the track record to put in place or to help you fashion out policies that translate into tangible developmental outcomes reflected in the lives of the people. So you must look for who will be able to match development and not who will be able to match any candidate in another party. And like I said, if you do that, then you are being irrational. So what you look out for is a person who can also demonstrate a grasp over the key issues that affect the ordinary people and help you to effectively articulate them convincingly to point to some competence in a manner that attracts the support, not of course party figures, but the support of electoral kingmakers who are usually undecided and are ready to listen to a message of hope. People sometimes are looking for how to arouse the party base, the party support base. And in our part of the world where democracy and partisan politics is still at its rudimentary stages, there is not enough partisan de-alignment. What I mean by that is that it is difficult. It is not easy for people who support core support base of NDC to cross camp or to move from NDC and to go and support NPP. You don't get it. So the core support base of the two main political parties are always constant. They remain. So NDC support base is there, NPP support base is there, but these support bases are not enough to determine electoral victories of their respective political parties. And so if you are smart enough and you are looking for somebody to partner you, you don't look for somebody who will just energize your support base. As for the support base, once they chant the party's slogans and they begin to play the party's anthem, they will be energized. But you have to look for the electoral kingmakers and somebody who will be able to effectively appeal to the 5-10% electoral kingmakers who are always undecided and they are willing to listen to a message that they feel can resonate or they can identify with. So with this, you can ask further questions.
Thank you. All right, so Professor Nana Jiro Pugwajiman has ended up tops, and at this point, there are so many aspects of who she is that will come to bear on the success or otherwise of the ticket. For example, we learned yesterday that she actually only became a member of the party 7 years ago. How will that impact on the way the electorate sees her and on the success of the ticket?
Well, being only a member of the party only 7 years ago is inconsequential in determining how the electorate will see her. You see, also Nana Opoku Ajiman is a great person, and in my view, women deserve a place in higher level decision making. And so I think that is what we should be looking out for. But that aside, her recent membership is nothing that can affect her fortunes. In my view, what really is crucial is how she is able to sound on the various campaign platforms, on the various rally grounds, and in her face-to-face encounter with ordinary people, the kinds of things that she will be able to tell them. Because we have seen instances where we saw people of all the pedigrees, people with all the achievements, and we assumed that given their achievement, because of what they may have attained in life, they are competent and they can effectively serve the interests of the people. You give them opportunity to speak to the people, and once they started talking, you realize that they lacked depth and they had no content and all that. So, in my view, what will really do the trick for her is how well she is able to grasp the issues and how convincing is able to articulate them in a manner that points to a certain competence. If you do that, then the electorate will see you well.
All right, so let's assess Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman in that regard. How do you think she'll do?
Well, we've not. She was just selected yesterday, and she's yet to hit the ground. And so we pray that she hits the ground running, and she's able to convince people to want to look her way. Unfortunately, people have said that because she's a woman, maybe it would appeal, her candidature will appeal to women, and also because she is an academic, she may appeal to the academia. Number one, she's a woman of high repute, but unfortunately, in our part of the world, even though we are struggling or we are doing all we can to ensure women are fully empowered and women take their rightful place in decision making, when you have a woman occupying or wanting to occupy such high positions, of power, women do not support that. Women constitute about 52% of our position, and so ideally, if they want to constitute a constituency to support their own, then she would be somebody who will be able to help the ticket of John Mahama. But since 1992, because of party politics or political party division, some women will say that, well, she's a great woman, but because she's not coming from our party, we will not support her. And so the point is that until women form a constituency in supporting their own, the battle to ensure that they occupy topmost positions of trust, we would continue to fight it and we would never win. The other bit has been that because she's a woman, she will be able to represent the interests of women. It is not always the case. There is a model of representation and the Haywood calls the resemblance model of representation. That model simply says that a person who typifies the characteristics of a larger group of people to which he or she belongs is able to adequately represent the interests of that group. Simply put, a visually impaired person should be able to adequately represent visually impaired people. A young man should be able to effectively represent young people. But over the years, experience has shown that it doesn't always happen like that. A young man, when appointed to a position of trust, would do things that would actually even harm the interests of young people. And so it is not guaranteed, or it's not fully proven that because she's a woman, she will be able to adequately represent the interests of women, and so because of that, all women should give her their mandate. The other bit, her support, their support. The other bit is that because she is an academic, she would enjoy support from academia. It is not that simplistic. It is not that straightforward. I'm sure academics would also want to listen to her and listen to how convincing she may be, because over the years, again, experience has shown that you may have all the academic qualifications, but you may not have what it takes to represent or to serve the interests of your people. And so it depends on her grasp over the issues and how convincing she sounds, that she'll be a good person who, when given the nod, will be able to do things to help John Mahama to better the lots of people should they be given the mandate to govern Ghana.
Okay, so now let's look at how the two tickets will shape up against each other. We could do a quick pros and cons, if you like, of the two options, or the two top options on the ballot going into the election.
So where exactly?
The NPP versus NDC. Now that we know the tickets for NPP and NDC, how do they shape up against each other?
Well, it is going to be, in my view, an issue. It is expected to be an issues-based competition, because if you look at the galaxy of personalities, on the various tickets, they are. It's not something that you can go and be hurling insults and to be talking about issues that are not issues. If you talk about President Nana Akufo-Addo, he's an accomplished politician. He's the President of the Republic. If you look at his running mate, he's an accomplished economist. He's an orator, and also he demonstrates some grasp over the issues and all that. If you move on to talk about President Mahama, he's been a former president before. He's been a former vice president and then president before. And then you look at Nana Akufo-Addo. He's also an accomplished scholar and educationist, and he's been a minister for education before. And so they all have the pedigrees, and we want to think about situations where the days of presidential debates will be revisited. We will have a credible platform to organize a debate for all of them, and we'll see a good contest and a healthy contest of ideas among them in a manner that brings to the fore the key issues, the key bread and butter issues that should inform our decision making in the coming election. So I am looking for a credible platform that would be given to them so that they can dialogue and they can debate the issues among themselves. I think over the years.
Hello? Hi. Oh, right. I think we may have lost Professor Jampo there. But we have you, and I was about to introduce you, and then you said hi. This is Elaine Kwame. She happens to be the younger sister of the new vice presidential candidate of the NDC, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Thank you so much for making the time to speak with us. And good morning. Now, we are very keen to learn as much as we can about the new running mate of John Mahama. You, of course, have been there from day one. So talk to us about her. What sort of person was she like growing up?
Well, growing up, of course, as children we were full of pranks. We are very close. But Nana is should I say a methodical person. She's very practical, and she has strength of character. She is not a pushover, that I can assure you. She's very generous, she's caring, she's reliable. She's a very sweet person.
Wow, that's a nice combination of traits to have in a person. Now, she's obviously operated at the top of her game, throughout her career. Every place she's worked, she's actually risen to the top, culminating, of course, with her being the Minister for Education under John Mahama. But politics is a very, very different environment. People can be very abrasive, people can be rude and insulting. They consider politicians to be their personal property, and they literally wipe the floor with them with the comments that they make on public platforms. How do you think your sister will cope with this?
That's a tough one. As I mentioned to you, she has strength of character. She's very patient, and she's faithful and friendly. I think she will find a way to go around the difficult situations that she finds herself in. As you said, she's always been on the top. People don't get to the top for no good reason. They get to the top through effort. So I suppose that she will use the same principles that she has used in the past to help her, navigate this difficult terrain of politics.
Now, I'll ask you to be honest with me, okay? Are you surprised that she's ended up in politics? Did it seem to you from the beginning that she would gravitate towards a political career?
Well, I have never been a prophetess, so I can't say that I will see through her to that extent. But as with all people, we get interested in things as we go along, and we change our minds and fit into the schemes as they present themselves to us. In terms of going into politics, I would say that, well, she didn't look too much of a politician to me in the past, because I can see her attributes as not those of a politician. Sometimes it's very difficult to track politicians and know what they are going to do. But in her case, I would say that she was easy to reach for me. So in terms of whether I saw she would go into politics or not, I would say not really, but I'm not surprised either.
Are you worried? I mean, she's going to become, public property. People are going to be digging into her life and, twisting and turning events to suit their narratives. While some people will be seeking to make her look good, there will be some who will be dedicating their lives to making her look bad. That's your sister.
You mentioned the two sides. Some will be trying to make her look good, others will be trying to make her look bad. I would say that she should go along with those who want to make her look good. And she should also continue to feel good about herself. Really, whether you are in politics or not, even with the job you are doing, I have been a journalist too. It's not everybody who likes what you do, is it? I think
that's true.
Life. The only thing is that in this case, maybe some things are just too public. But really, if you have occupied the position that she has, or any executive will tell you, it is not only the good side of you that people talk about. They talk about the bad things as well. So I don't think this should be too new to her. But as I said, when it becomes very public, then it's a different matter. But I trust her to be able to navigate the difficult terrain.
We're having a conversation with the younger sister of the NDC's new running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Her sister is Elaine Kwame, and we're learning. Elaine Sam, forgive us. Thank you for that clarification. So tell us one thing that the world does not know about the NDC's new running mate, Prof. Opoku-Agyeman.
Wow. One thing that the world doesn't know?
Yeah.
That's very difficult for me for the simple reason that I don't think I have been alone in her life all this while to know certain things alone. But I think I can tell you about the things that I like about her.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Yeah. I think it's her generosity. And her caring nature. There are some people who want to see others do well and are not jealous when others overtake them. I think it's a rare gift that she has. Because she doesn't seem to be in competition with anybody ever. She just relaxes and tries to do her best. So the results come. And of course, we've all seen what she's achieved.
What was it like, when she was chosen to become the education minister? How did the family react to it?
Oh, actually, that's a question. I wasn't even here when that announcement was made. I wasn't here. We were not. I don't think anybody was too surprised. Because looking at what she had done all her life, you could see that, well, whoever made that decision was looking probably for somebody with her skills, and they got it. So far as we were concerned, or I was concerned, it was a matter of somebody looking for a person with skills in education, and they got her. She agreed to serve her country in that capacity.
Did you know before that appointment that your sister was NDC?
I beg your pardon?
Before that appointment, did you know as Minister for Education? Did you? Yes, what I'm saying is before she was appointed, did you know that she was NDC?
No, I did not.
So you were surprised?
I did not. You mean with the appointment?
Yes, I'm saying, did you know before she was appointed that she was an NDC member or sympathizer? Did you know that before she was appointed?
She was not an NDC member. I think she said this herself at her vetting, because I was there.
So she was a sympathizer?
I beg your pardon?
So that means she was an NDC sympathizer?
What is this sympathizer thing? I don't like it. Are we having a funeral here? Or are we having some calamity that you need sympathizers?
Oh, that's the term for people who support a political party but are not card-carrying members.
But I think that's a question she herself can answer. I cannot answer that question for you.
So you didn't know? Ah, right. That's actually what I was trying to get at. Okay, so tell us now. She's hoping, along with John Mahama, to win in December, and then she would become, if they win, she would become the vice president of Ghana. What would your sister bring to that role?
Well, I've given you her attributes, her strengths, and you did well yesterday on your channel. I was watching to publish her CV and the work she's done so far. So in terms of knowledge and skills, I think she has what it takes, I suppose. I'm using the word I suppose because, unfortunately for me, I don't have the job description of a vice president in front of me, so I cannot match that against her skills. What I know for a fact is what I've told you about her character, about her strength, about the fact that she's skillful, and I think she has demonstrated this in every sphere that she has occupied. I am convinced that those who selected her know her capacity or capability and are convinced that she has what it takes to be a vice president.
Now, yesterday, the NPP held a press conference as soon as your sister's name was announced by the NDC. And in their press conference, they said that your sister has no track record in the promotion of women issues. Do you agree?
Can we leave this out? I was under the impression you wanted us to discuss Nana growing up at home with me. I don't want to wade into politics and what this party said and what that party did not say. What I know is that Nana, when it comes to advocacy, she's done a lot of work. She's done a lot of work in women and development, and she's currently the chair of the Federation of Women Educationists. She's the chair of that institution. So I know that in terms of bringing up girls, being the board chair of Wesley Girls High School at a point, being a Dishi Hall warden, I think she's also helped a lot of girls find their feet. So I would say that is the practical side of Nana. But in terms of what another party has said, I think that we should leave to the party communicators to respond. I wouldn't want to get into that.
Well, you've actually given a rather decent response there, even though you didn't want to get into it. So thank you for that. I want to thank you as well for giving us a glimpse behind the curtain and helping us understand your sister a little better. And we wish you and the family the very best. Well, fascinating look into the life of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman there, Winston.
Yes, it is. I like the fact that Elaine talked about her kindness, her generosity, and as one who had to, actually study under her, or one who was taught by her, one thing we all realized was the fact that she loved her work. She would go the extra mile to be of assistance to you, that if you needed anything academically. And so I can actually agree from that point of view when it comes to her teaching and her days at the University of Cape Coast. You've asked a lot of questions about her, political acceptability and all of that. I know that Evans is itching to get into that conversation. He's joining us via Zoom, and we'll have this conversation in detail, because you see, now the NDC faces a certain challenge. You're going into an election where in 2016 your grassroots had issues with you. They felt the party or the presidency was detached from the party. So what do? Do you go into this election with somebody also seen as detached from the party, or somebody who can complement the flag bearer in being very attached to the party? But there's also the point that says maybe the flag bearer, having realized his challenges, is now going to be more attached to the party. So in that situation, would not need somebody who is very attached to the party, because he brings on board that particular attachment that you're looking for. And so the whole thing about, she's not so attached to the party. You've had the party Deputy General Secretary Peter Otokono, you've had a member of Parliament for North Tongue, all talking about what she brings on board. In 2017, when I spoke with Dr. Tonyedi, there was a point he made, and I haven't forgotten that. In relation to the implementation of free SHS and everything, he said the NPP was stealing NDC's voters. And I'd explain further. He makes this point because he says the NDC is the party known for the masses, and is a party expected to implement a lot of social intervention programs. So if the NPP, which is seen as elitist, which is seen as capitalist, is implementing some of these programs, it will only take away from the NDC their core supporters.
Right.
So if you go back to 1996, at the time that there was all this problem with Jerry John Rawlings and Conkenson Akar, when Jerry John Rawlings looked for another running mate at the time, many of the NDC members who were at the University of Ghana and the universities looked forward to that day that they would not be seen as a party with quote and unquote, and I choose my words carefully. The person who narrated this story to me said, as a party with non-intellectuals. So I'm choosing my words carefully, and I'm reporting that.
So that's actually not your word.
Not my word. Yeah. Now, so when Professor Mills was selected as a running mate then, many of them were excited, including, and I'm going to mention names, including Alhaji Inusaf Husseini, who was president of TAIN at the time. He was very excited. I mean, he was a key member of TAIN, at Legon campus. He was then studying law. He was very excited because then they could beat their chest and say, the NDC has the men. Can the same be said about Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman? I think so. Now, I believe that she's definitely that person to complement the team. We'll come back and continue.
Absolutely. Let's wrap up with Professor Ransford Jampo, and then we'll bring Evans in on this one. Prof. Jampo, thanks for your patience. To wrap up, I'm hoping you can touch on this issue for us as well. There was a choice for John Mahama, and we understand that the final choice was between two options, Dr. Dufour and Prof. Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. How do you assess John Mahama's decision? Do you feel he made the right choice?
Well, I think he has the mandate of his people to serve as a flag bearer, and one distinguishing feature of a political party that makes a difference from an interest or pressure group is that the political party seeks to capture political power, whereas an interest group just seeks to influence governmental policies in the interest of its, in a manner that favors the interest of its members. And so John Mahama knows that he must win the upcoming election. And so he will have to do all he can to ensure that objective is achieved. And in my view, if he thinks that the one who will be able to partner him effectively to help him win is Nana Opoku-Agyeman, then the choice is made is good. So he has decided, he has weighed the two, as you are talking about. I'm not aware that it got narrowed to only two, but he has weighed the two, and if he feels that weighing the two, the best among the two is Nana Opoku-Agyeman. And I think we must respect it. But let me say that I have seen some attempts on the part of some political party people, particularly their apparatus, to rush to run the candidature or the selection of Nana Opoku-Agyeman down. I think what we have to do as a people is not to rush to run people down. Criticism of her selection, in my view, must be based only on issues. So I think you commit a needless political suicide and a display of political immaturity by rushing to simply run her down, by making nasty comments that can amount to attack on womanhood. If you do this and a critical mass of women decide counteract by forming a constituency in support of their own, then your electoral fortunes will experience a telling effect. So I may respectfully counsel those who have started throwing nasty invectives that, yes, Ghanaians may be struggling to put women at the top of the decision-making structures. Regardless of this, Ghanaians do not condone open attack on womanhood. And so if they want to learn from what happened, the backlash suffered from George Opesika Agude some time past, they may take that lesson and ensure that their critique on the candidature or on the selection of Nana Opoku-Agyeman is fair and based only on issues. Let me repeat, I respectfully counsel that critique NPP people particularly, they are full soldiers, they must not fall for the trap of committing political suicide by saying nasty things that may be interpreted as an attack on womanhood. If you do so, and it hurts a critical mass of women, then what you have done may come back to hurt or harm your electoral fortunes once the critical mass of women decide to counteract by forming constituency in support of their own. So any serious critique of the selection of Nana Opoku-Agyeman, in my view, must be based solely on issues and on her track record.
I want to thank you very much for your time with us, Professor Ransford Jampo of the Department of Political Science at the University of Ghana. Right, Winston, we've got Evans now. Evans, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Kudu. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly. It always amuses me when we wake you up early like this, because we know you normally don't. You're normally not up at this time. But we've got important business, so I'm glad you're able to join us. And we've been looking at what this means. Now that we know who the two tickets are for the two parties, we started to think of how communication will start to shape itself up. We already saw a glimpse when the NPP yesterday suggested that the NDC's choice indicates that they are not taking Ghanaians seriously. How is it going to go now? How do you anticipate that the NPP is going to shape their communication now that we know who the running mate is for their major opponent?
I think I see three strategies emerging. The first strategy is what we saw yesterday, where you attack her track record and you point out areas where you believe that she underperformed or hurt a bit of the population by a policy that deprived a certain constituency of benefits. And in this case, you've seen them pointing to the scrapping of the teacher training allowances, for example. That is attacking her track record, which you see that a party will do. And I see a second strategy. The second strategy is where you have the foot soldiers, where party officials, party structure, government will have plausible deniability. And, behind closed doors and in the background, fuel these party foot soldiers to go out there on social media, calling to radio stations, etc., and throw mud at her. Whether the mud is coming from a place of authenticity or not, they don't care. They will simply throw mud at her, insult her if they have to, call her names if they must. We will all condemn it when it happens, but the party will say, well, we don't know these people. But we all know that in the background they will be, encouraging such attacks on her on social media, because there's a certain constituency of people who will like that sort of thing and hear it and revel in it, etc. That is the second strategy that I think will happen. Then there's the third strategy. The third strategy I see is the NDC releasing their own women party members, ministers, members of parliament, etc., who we know are vocal and have a strong biting tongue to also attack her. And we will see that play out in they also attacking her credibility. And I think that third strategy could prove very effective, because if you have another woman in the NPP taking her on, it sort of reduces the challenge that Professor Jampo had mentioned. Exactly, had mentioned, because at that point it's a woman-to-woman thing. And so the difficulty that a man will have taking off the gloves and attacking frontally with venom, and I pointed this thing out yesterday. That particular challenge will be a challenge that the NPP will face. The way you will attack another man politician, another male politician, with venom, with, obliterating the person's record and calling them names, etc., you would think twice in choosing your words when you're attacking a woman politician, because you risk angering a certain constituency of women who will say you won't do this if the person was a man. I mean, that is something you cannot take away. But if the MPP decides using that third strategy, and I think they will, send out your own women, and they have some capable women in their ranks who can hold their own against her, that could also be a strategy to adopt. So for me, to answer the question, I see these three strategies playing out in the coming days.
That's fascinating. Now, Evans, I want us to do more, so stay with us. Right now, we have on the line Dr. Teresa Adai-Mununkum. Now, Dr. Adai-Mununkum is actually somebody who enjoys an interesting relationship with Professor Nana Jane-Opoku-Agyeman. She was mentored by the professor. She herself is now a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, and she joins us on the line now to help us understand the professional background of the new running mate to John Mahama. Dr. Adai-Mununkum, thank you very much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning.
So my understanding is that at a point you were Prof. Opokwajiman's TA. Is that right?
Yes. When I was taking my master's at the Department of English, I worked with her as a TA.
It's wonderful.
Between 2002 to 2006.
All right. So now she is hoping to become Ghana's vice president. If she wins, what professionally do you say that she would bring to the role?
Looking at her qualities of being disciplined, and fair, I believe that should she win, we hope to see a new change in the way our country is run and governed, because she brings on board all these qualities. She is a very disciplined person who likes to see the right thing being done at the right time. She is very fair, and she is hardworking as well. So these are a few of the qualities that I believe she would bring on board to the country.
All right. Now, everybody has a weakness. What do you think would be the biggest challenge for Professor Opokwajiman in the campaign, and if they are successful in the role of vice president?
One weakness of Professor Opokwajiman that I can think of is that she is very willing to listen to everybody. She has a listening ear, and so no matter who you are, no matter your station in life, she's willing to listen to you. She's willing to hear what you have to say. And that might be something that would take a toll on her, because then she would, everybody would want to have access to her, and But I believe that she can manage this very well by learning to feed out those calls that she has to take, those learning to close off some of the intrusions into her privacy. She can have time to focus on the job at hand. But she's a very affable person and willing to listen to everybody.
Right.
We are weakness sometimes.
Now, of course, back then when you worked closely with her, were you privy to her political thoughts? Was it clear to you in any way that she was even politically inclined at the time?
In fact, I must say I am very surprised at this kind of event, because there was never an inkling of her political inclination, or even her desire to go into politics during the time that I worked with her. And so the first surprise for me was when she was appointed the Minister of Education. And this is the second surprise as well, because there was never a time that we sat down, or even through just a casual conversation, a political inclination came up. Never. I didn't know she had any political aspirations at all.
She's had an illustrious career. What would you say is her secret, the secret of her success professionally?
The secret to Professor Opokwajiman's success is, I think, determination and hard work. She is very determined in getting what she wants, and she works towards achieving that goal. That is one thing I admire about her so much. And when she sets her mind on doing something, she works hard at it. She stays up all night to go through what she has to do. She spends all her energies on achieving that goal. That is something that I find very, very exemplary and worth emulated.
All right. So I think I'll let you wrap up with a message, if you will. I don't know if you've had the chance to speak to her, but many people are congratulating her. I'm sure you'd like the opportunity to say something publicly, in congratulations of your mentor.
Right. So to Professor Joy997FM, I would like to say a big congratulations to you on my own behalf and on behalf of all of us at the Department of English, University of Cape Coast. We are so proud of you, and we are so happy that you've gotten this appointment. And we know that you would get to where you need to be to make the change that we need to see in our country. So we're just so proud of you, and we are just basking in your glory down here as well.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Teresa Adai-Mununkum, for your time with us. We appreciate it ever so much. And yeah, I was a mentee of Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman. And I see Winston smiling to himself there. What's making you smile?
Oh, no, it's interesting, you know, that you hear Dr. Adai-Mununkum speak about Nana Opoku Agyeman. And I'm just remembering, you know, the times that we're doing African women writers. Which was taught by Nana Opoku Agyeman, and you know she was her TA, and I'm just remembering those days about 15 years ago. So,
you grew.
Oh no, I no grew.
All right, okay. So let's get Evans back in on this thing, and Evans, now that you've sort of outlined what you expect the opposition to do. Let's now look at what weapons the NDC has at its disposal. They've got Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman as their running mate to John Mahama. John Mahama is seeking one term. How will his running mate improve his chances?
I mean that is the only question really to ask. I mean it's the only reason why they would choose a running mate going into the election is because they want a ticket, a partnership that could win the election. For me, it's as simple as that. Everything else they tell you right now doesn't matter as much, because if you don't win the elections, you won't have the opportunity to do what you believe you can do. And so, how will she improve her chances? In many ways. I'll say first, competence. It's clear from all that we've heard and from the interview you just did with the prof from the university. Yesterday we've done interviews to people who knew her when she worked at the university. Her competence is, you can't question it. It is impeccable. And this is a woman who has shown over the years that, you know, her competence doesn't only end within the borders of Ghana, it goes beyond it. Even within this country, she is recognized as one of those, excellent individuals. Has received Officer of the Order of the Volta Award for academic distinction, right? I mean, internationally, she's been acknowledged for outstanding performance in advancing international education, School of International Training, Vermont in the US at 2 occasions. Now, the thing about that is, remember, one of the key disadvantages that the NPP managed to craft quite successfully for John Mahama in the 2016 elections is branding him as incompetent. Dr. Baobia did that quite well. Mahama himself, it got under his skin to a point where he had to fight back. And that word was used persistently to the point where it became an issue going into the 2016 election. Now, coming into this election, clearly, if you have a partnership with Jane Opoku Agyeman, she brings that particular additional value to John Dramani Mahama. I mean, now that is looking at Mr. Mahama himself as somebody who, over the last 3 years, has purged himself off the particular tag, but this particular combination gives him an additional oomph when it comes to competence and knowing what she's done over the years. Now, again, when it comes to the second value she brings to John Mahama's ticket, credibility. Now, if you look at the track record when she was at the Education Ministry, she's a brave. She spearheaded the move through the conversion of the polytechnics to technical university. That's a major policy change that she led. She also, again, was also very instrumental in the conversion of the colleges of education to tertiary institutions. Key policy change, fundamental changes there. So if you look at the track record when it comes to credibility, she has that. I mean, the NPP has pointed out that, she also scrapped the teacher training allowances, which was a major controversial issue then. But the thing about that is it was unpopular. But she still led the change. In fact, that could be an issue that could point to a strength of hers, because as a leader, you have to make choices. So some of the choices that you have to make sometimes will not be pleasant. But if you believe that it's the right thing ultimately for the greater good, you have to make that choice. And so clearly from that example, it's not a woman who plays safe either. Because it's popular, then I need to do it. She will do it because she believes it's right. And so that credibility question is key for John Dramani Mahama. Now, for me, though, and Winston makes a point, and I've made this point yesterday, and it is about how much weight you put on competence and credibility going into the elections. This is what I really think. I've sat back and I thought, what did John Mahama really do in appointing Joy997 FM? And this is what I think John Mahama did in terms of calculation. John Mahama sat there and thought, and this is coming to the point that I have really emphasized, that her grassroots energizing and political gravitas ability, which I think the NDC needs now more than ever before. But John Mahama, I think, sat back and thought, as an individual, me, John Mahama, going into the 2016 elections, I've had 4 years to energize my base, and my base was disenchanted and disillusioned, and so 1 million of them didn't turn out to vote. Now, in making the appointment, he saw, and maybe a brilliant consideration, that I can bring back the near 1 million votes I lost, the base that I failed to galvanize in 2016. One, because of the leadership and what they believe to be the challenges that this government had themselves created for themselves in terms of the incumbent disadvantage. That's what I call it, because when you're incumbent, you make decisions that then people then don't like, and then in the next 4 years, you don't get as many votes as you got in your first term, which we've seen historically play out since 1992. He's calculated and said, that could galvanize my base by itself. This government's governance could galvanize my base, and I could galvanize my base by myself.
Right.
So I could possibly bring back that 1 million votes back, the NDC grassroots. Now, if I can do that successfully, how will I win the elections? I'll probably win the elections with getting the middle class voting voter. He's probably calculated and said that is where the difference between winning and losing could be. If indeed I've been successful to galvanize my base, the 1 million votes come back, then we are probably at equal now with the MPP. So how do we decide the election? Middle class voting voter. And he's calculated that if that is the case, then don't I rather lead a woman, first of all, who will be historical, who could appeal to the 51% of Ghanaian population, majority of that voters as well, one. Secondly, who is an academic, who is competent in that field, who will appeal to that floating middle class voter that I believe I will need to cross the finish line. And therefore, if that is my consideration, then I will go for Professor Joy997 FM to do that for me in appealing to that middle class voting voter that the NDC traditionally is not known to have, because the NDC is known to be a mass appeal grassroots party. I think that is possibly John Mahama's consideration that he's made.
That's fascinating.
Whether that indeed will play out in December 7, I doubt. And I have more to say on this, but I guess for me, I'm thinking like John Mahama, and I think that possibly he's made that calculation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want you to stay on, because I do want to hear the other stuff you have to say on this. But right now, let's capture this moment in time, okay? This is not the first time that a female has been made a running mate. There have been others. Professor Nafale Sakifiu was Kwabena Dakon's running mate for the NIP in 1992. Petra Magashi was running mate for Dan Lati of the GCPP in 2000. Patricia Ameku was running mate in 2008 for the DFP presidential candidate Emmanuel Ansa Impi. Cherita Sapong was Dr. Abu Sakara Foster's running mate for the CPP in 2012. The late Eva Loko was running mate for Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum in 2012. Helen Matevi ran with Dr. Hassan Ayariga in 2012, and Brigitte Jobenuku was Dr. Indum's running mate in 2016. Speaking of which, she joins us on the line now. Madam Jobenuku, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Now, so history repeats itself. Another political party picks a female running mate. I'm sure it was pleasing to hear. But what went through your mind from your own experiences? What do you think Prof. Opoku Agyeman has ahead of her?
Well, I think that I will be doing her a great disservice if I try to say what is going through her mind based on what I experienced, because we are coming from two different places. She is indeed she's coming to be a vice presidential candidate of a larger political party as it is. She has been a minister before. She's a much more mature, an older woman than I am. Indeed, she was my teacher. She taught me in sixth form in Wesley Girls High School. So she brings a lot more, or possibly a lot more experience from being in the party and being in politics than I did. But in saying so, I think that we would all have unique experiences which we bring. And I think that, of course, she has a lot of work ahead of her. It will demand a lot of her time and her energy. And it will draw on all her skills, her experiences, her relationships to be able to fill this role. It will also be very challenging because, of course, we are still talking about this first woman thing. And we know that our two political parties are heavily male-oriented and have a more of a patriarchal flair to them. So she is going to have to work her way and assert herself as a credible woman in that position.
Now, did you find after your nomination as running mate, did you find that it increased support for your party? Did the fact that a female running mate had been chosen, did it influence directly the support for your party?
Possibly, yes. I think it did. It was novel. It was new. I have certain constituents who also wanted a change at the time. So definitely, people would vote for the party and for the flag bearer. And in some cases, because I would go to the constituencies with a parliamentary candidate, yes, it will change their minds from what I said or from my interaction with the people. So definitely, yes, it did increase. It must have increased in some ways the votes for the people. Whether that translated or maybe I shouldn't call it a vote. It did give us a hearing in many places. I think the votes we saw at the end of the day, and that was influenced by many, many things, including the sham disqualification the party had at the time. But yes, it people get influenced, people get interested. The mere fact that you're a woman and you're doing something different and you're bold enough to go out there, and depending on who your constituents are, and when I say your constituents, not necessarily within the party or within your community, but the people you have dealt with in the past. I mean, Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman went to Wesley Girls, for example. So it will endear some people from Wesley Girls to her. She was in Cape Coast University, so she has a constituency there too. I heard from your TV program on which I was this morning that she does some work with Markets Women's Union. So there again, she has people there. So yes, you will start to win some people over.
Now, we still don't have enough women in top leadership positions. We just don't have enough. So you were the exception to the rule. You were on the campaign trail. Talk to us. what were some of the specific challenges that you felt you encountered simply because you were a female running mate?
Well, the issue of patriarchy and how things ought to be done because of men is never lost on anybody, where you need to go and greet the chiefs of the community, and a woman must not enter first, regardless of the fact that you're a leader. I mean, a lot of our socialization is still very steeped in patriarchy, so that was a challenge. It's not something you can change instantly, so you go along with it. But I think the major one was the polarization, because we are deeply divided along political lines, the NDC and the NPP. And because we are also deeply divided, whether we like it or not, or along ethnic lines, you will find that there was a lot to battle against in my experience. And I gave an example yesterday on another radio program where I went to a place like the market. I mean, the market is where you find the women. So you would think that a woman will bandy together and support a woman, right? And then we went to Nsawamado market, and it was cold. I was given the cold shoulder. I understand them because these women probably wanted a change in government. They wanted, and as they say, the NPP stronghold. So they obviously wanted the NPP to come to power. And I seemed like an intruder who was going to dilute their votes or take some votes away as a woman. So they couldn't be seen to be supporting me. I mean, down to song and dance, giving out this and that. We had scarves and, party paraphernalia that we could get. They refused it. So that was due to the polarity. They wouldn't relate to me because I was a woman. They were relating to me as an intruder and someone coming to ruin things for them. So there's no longer women. They were party members, if you like. And on the other side, I mean, in saying so, I would say I went to, I think it was Woolworths, and I got the same thing from the women in the market because they belonged to one party, and therefore, I don't know whether that made them less women, or so they weren't relating to a woman anymore. So that division where we stopped seeing what we are first and foremost still exists, and we've got to find a way of letting people see that we are Ghanaian and you're a woman first and foremost before anything else.
Yeah. So, what do you think she brings? As a female running mate, what advantage does she give the NDC over their opponents?
Plenty. I think that people tend to dwell on her academics and immediately pitch her against Dr. Baumia, which I find, it's absurd because she is unique as a woman. Like I've already mentioned, she has her constituents, but women's leadership is different. On the TV program this morning, the host was saying something about, it's competitive. I think that our democracy has got to go beyond competition and power to leadership and good governance and service. And if you are talking about that, women make fantastic leaders, and she has held many, many, many leadership positions. So she's a fantastic leader. If she's not, to put it in, local parlance, she's not only book long. There's a lot more to her than just the book. She's got good leadership potential. I think she's an amalgam. She's someone who can, get people to come together, unify. A woman has innate, empathetic, and compassionate values. the fact that she went to Wesley Girls, she brings up all those values that we hope that will clean out the party or have an influence on the party, because we all know that the party has been tagged corrupt and this and that and all kinds of things. She may be the shine. She may be the one to bring the shine back to the party as an accountable, credible party. So she brings a lot. It's up to her to enforce and exert herself, assert herself in the party in that manner, and using her innate feminine values and abilities to collaborate, to be a collaborator, to mentor. Yesterday on our Wesley Girls High School, our year group platform, someone was mentioning how she mentored her. A few words she said to her when she taught us how much of a mentor she was. I'm sure she's had plenty of practice in this field, so she knows how to do that. She's able to empower her people, her communities. She does some work with those market women. So indeed, she would know how to empower people. I think that most times people feel disempowered, and that is why they feel threatened. And if there is a woman like this who can, make people feel empowered, then it's a good thing. And of course, whilst people are touting her achievements, and I think that she comes across as a very humble person, believing that she's not higher than anybody else. She's not. She's egalitarian and is welcomes ideas from everybody else. And of course, she wants to include other people. Being a woman, we hope that she will draw on more of the women who have the skills, the knowledge, the ability to lead the country and use those resources as well. So we look forward to her being unique in this manner.
I want to thank you very much for your time with us. We certainly appreciate you, Bridget Jobenuku. It's 9 o'clock. Time for the Joy Business Minute.
My name is Darrow. Welcome to the Joy Business Minute. It's brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you. Commodity research firm Isoko is proposing an effective post-harvest storage system to help sustain low food prices over a long period. It's projected that prices of food items will be going down significantly in the coming weeks. The much talked about SkyTrain project, which was supposed to begin in the capital this year, has been halted. This is due to the closure of the country's borders, with the executing engineers and financiers drawn from South Africa. Government has denied entering into a deal to sell the Kotoka International Airport to a strategic investor. There were some media reports about a deal being finalized to hand over the facility to a foreign entity. TikTok has said it will quit Hong Kong after China imposed a new security law on the city. The company's exit will come within days. And that's the Joy Business Minute, brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you.
Because the greatest things are born from the smallest of thoughts. Just as your seeds in a rich soil grow to become trees that bear fruits, the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, helps you sow, invest, nurture, and grow your personal and business plans by serving you with years of banking ingenuity and experience in agribusiness, corporate and commercial banking, consumer finance, e-banking, and many more through our network branches across the country. Whatever the culture, whatever the dream, we grow with you. Call us today on 0302-210-210 or visit www.agricbank.com. ADB, truly agric and more.
Your office they sign.
Yes, I tell you, say for proper and modern ceiling solutions, the answer be Interface Limited. They'll get in stock acoustic ceilings where you go fit make your office fine like my own.
Or is it better pass your own self?
We can better pass my own.
Shall I go Interface right now?
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com. ban may have been lifted, but we're still staying safe with Samsung. And yes, home is where we feel safest. If your home isn't powered by Samsung, no worries. This is your chance to get your Samsung appliances in the Stay Safe with Samsung promotion. Shop safely for the best appliances at amazing discounts and win gifts too. Samsung 40-inch satellite TV for 1,499 Ghana cedis. 55-inch smart UHD TV at 3,999 Ghana cedis. QLED 55-inch TV at 7,999 Ghana cedis with Netflix already pre-installed. A fridge to last you many amazing years of use for just 2,499 Ghana cedis. And a washing machine starting at 899 Ghana cedis with gifts like standing fans and shaving machines for that after quarantine clean look. Visit any Samsung authorized dealer, observe all the safety protocols at the shop, and get your Samsung electronics safely. Samsung, imagine what we can build.
Hello, my brothers and sisters. I'm John Mahama. The Electoral Commission of Ghana is compiling a new voter register in all parts of the country. And all Ghanaians 18 years and above are eligible to register. Whether you have previously registered or voted in an election before, you must register now to be able to vote in the December 2020 elections. The time to make a change is now. Register today to vote in December and make a difference in your life and that of your family. Your vote is your voice. To be able to vote, you must register. Register now, and let's do it for Ghana.
You think your internet service is fast? Wait till you experience Vodafone's ultra-fast fiber broadband. That's right. Vodafone Fiber Broadband gives you 10 times the internet speed you already get. Open a whole new world of possibilities for the family as everyone gets to do so much more online at the same time on a wider bandwidth. Watch TV, take online courses, play video games, stream, download. The list is endless. Available in Accra, Tabelenke, Achimota, Adentan, East Legon, Adabraka, Adrinkano, Ashoman, Airport Residential, Cantonment, Wager, Abudome, Botre, Dansuman, Jolu, Hacho, and so many more communities. Visit fbb.vodafone.com.gh or any of our retail shops nationwide to check availability in your area and apply now.
The future is exciting. Ready? Me, I love big things. I never settle for small things. That's why I choose GoTV. With GoTV, I am always assured of the bigger and better things, especially when it comes to football. I mean, you know that. For the best football leagues are back. Super Sports on GoTV is bringing live football back. Igo John Rob. Spread the word. The big boys are back in town. Watch all La Liga and Serie A games. Cristiano Ronaldo! In crystal clear digital pictures and vibrant sound on GoTV. Don't slack, cry. Stay connected via any pay body point or mobile agent near you. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best on Joy 99.7 FM.
Alrighty then, it's 9:07 on the dot, and you're welcome back. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM, and we still have quite a bit to do. We're very concerned about COVID-19. The numbers are looking funnier and funnier. Almost 1,000 people were recorded within 24 hours, in the last 24 hours, as having tested positive. Almost 1,000 people. I mean, the mind boggles. This is where we are in Ghana today. We have to talk about it and how testing might be, a problem with testing might be contributing to the increased deaths. That's all to come. But we had a business minute a moment ago brought to us by Consolidated Bank Ghana. CBG, we stand with you. Now, nothing is impossible even in these challenging times. CBG, your most trusted bank, gives you *924# to get digi with it, making it easier to get used to the new normal of banking and business transactions. With star 924 hash get digi with it, you can conveniently perform banking transactions anywhere at any time. Bank safe with CBG on star 924 hash and get digi with it. You may alternatively use the ATMs and electronic platforms. All branches are open, poised and ready to serve you with first class customer service if you need in-branch assistance. But note that the enforcement of all safety directives will be done for both staff and for you, their cherished customer. So follow them on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at CBG Bank Limited. For further inquiries, call 0302-216-000. Get digi with it with CBG star 924 hash. CBG, we stand with you. Right, today's agenda is coming up, brought to you by Societe Generale, SG Ghana, the future is you, and Mala2 anti-malaria drug from Ernest Chemist, providing quality and affordable medicine. So your home and household possessions mean the world to you. We know this, and we know you want to live free without worrying about what could go wrong. That is why Hollard Insurance brings you Hollard Chat Insure via WhatsApp 24/7 with your virtual insurer, Araba Hollard. Now, as a homeowner or renter, you can sign up for Hollard's home or home contents insurance right on WhatsApp chat with Araba. Save Araba's number 0242 426 412. Save it in your phone, find her on WhatsApp and say hi. She'll help you sign up, renew, purchase and even make claims. No need to talk to anyone else. Security against burglary, fire and allied perils. Hollard has got you covered. Secure your home and home contents today with Hollard Chat Insure and sleep well. Send a WhatsApp to Araba on 0242 426 412. So COVID-19 has changed the world, but despite the challenges, there are still people getting things done. The spirit of Africanacity is still alive in Ghana. Healthcare workers on the front line are keeping us safe. Many other essential service personnel are still doing their jobs to keep us all going. And you're still getting things done across Ghana and Africa. Still working, teaching, doing it all, and still using your ingenuity and originality and creativity to make a difference in your little corner. So thank you to everyone still getting things done. Your Africanacity inspires everybody at ABSA. So go to absa.com.gh to learn more. And I want to say a big good morning to our friends at the Food Pharmacy. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Keep doing the amazing job that you do. All right, let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. Now, you've noticed the numbers. I know you've noticed the numbers. Just yesterday, almost 1,000 new positives were recorded over 24 hours. Now, one thing is clear. Testing is the way by which we have been able